I'm so proud of myself. I would have never ever thought I could do this. Oh my god, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm in my car because there is so much construction going on in the house right now. The only thing you would hear is drilling, and trust me, it's very annoying. As someone who started running this year and has been kind of consistent with it, kind of not, I would say I'm still very much a beginner. I didn't go into running with a solid plan and go, so I've progressed really fast or anything. I would still say I'm very much at the beginning stages of my running journey. When I just started out, and as I've tried to create a plan for my runs and everything, I've been looking for so many videos and content that's being published that can help me actually know what's best for me and my running journey and how to start and what to do and all these sort of things. And I found it really hard to actually find like a beginner's guide to running. I feel like everybody that I see that creates running content is actually like an amazing runner, and whilst that's absolutely amazing, I find it hard to relate to because their level is just completely different to mine. So I just thought, for anybody that hasn't started running yet or is still at the beginner point of their journey, I hope this video can help you and get you into running and help you enjoy it and know a little bit more about what to do and what's helped me and what's good for me and all these sort of things. The first piece of advice that majorly helped me when I actually started to take it on board, my boyfriend's raving at me, was to stop putting pressure on yourself. I know that sounds like such an obvious one, but actually when you start living by it and you actually start taking it in and actually doing it, it makes such a huge difference. As soon as I went on that first run, I felt like I needed to be running 3 times a week. I needed to be going for as many runs as possible, because then that would make me a runner. Like, that would mean I'm officially a runner if I am going on multiple runs. I didn't think I could just go on a run here and there whenever I'd feel like it, whenever I fancy. I felt like, okay, if I'm gonna run, I'm gonna run. I'm not just gonna like run here or there. Like, I want to actually be a runner. But it actually makes no difference. If you're gonna enjoy your runs, if you're gonna be more motivated, if you're going to find them more appealing, if it's going to make you feel better by going once a week or once every 2 weeks, then I'd say that's better to do that than forcing yourself to go multiple times a week or whatever, or going more than what you actually want and then actually not enjoying the process. Honestly, I genuinely think like you're still a runner even if you go once a week, even if you go twice a month. You're still doing your runs, you're still getting out there, you're still giving it a go, you're still showing up. Especially at the beginning of your running journey, if you're just starting out with running, it is honestly so hard. Running is hard enough when you're just starting out, so your first few runs are bound to be super challenging and more challenging than what your runs are going to feel like after a couple of weeks or after a month. To have to find the motivation to go on these runs in the first period of your running journey is going to be so hard, because you're not going to be able to find the motivation to put yourself through something so challenging multiple times a week. It's going to feel much more manageable and much more appealing to go on a run once a week or something, because you know you haven't got another one to do in 2 days. Running is going to be tough, and that is inevitable, especially if you've not done it before, or maybe if you're not that active in general. Your running journey should be fun and it should be enjoyable. 100%. It's going to be challenging, it's going to be hard, but we've got to be there for ourselves and make the situation as easy as possible. Do you know what I mean? I really want to get across this point because this is definitely something I needed to hear. Running a kilometer in 4 minutes and 30 seconds is the same as running a kilometer in 8 minutes. If you're going on social media and you're seeing all these amazing runners that are putting out all their running times and their running distances, and you see they're running like a 5k in like 20 minutes or like something crazy, and they're doing their kilometers in like crazy amounts of time that's super speedy, and you're like, oh my god, I'm literally so much slower than them. It's not going to make you feel good about your journey. It's not going to make you feel good about what you're doing, when even just getting out for 5 minutes and going on a run is better than nothing. My mum's waving at me now, and that is still you getting out there and doing it. They would have ran for however long and they're in chapter 20 of their running journey and you're still in chapter 1, so comparison is going to be such an unhealthy thing for you to do, and it's also gonna take away the achievement of like how amazing it is for you to actually get out there and do it, no matter how slow it is. The main thing to remember is just because you might be slower doesn't mean you're not doing it. I saw someone actually put this on social media, I think it was Lily Tartan, and I really love her content. She does a lot of running content. She said running a 7-minute kilometer and running a 4-minute kilometer is still running a kilometer, and when I read that, it really switched something in me, and I was like, oh my god, that's so true. Just because someone's running something for 30 minutes and you're running it in 50 minutes doesn't make a difference. You're still running the same distance. Like, there's nothing worse about you in comparison to them. You're still just as good. You're still doing it. That's the thing. You're still doing it. So please try and remain that mindset, because else it can be really demotivating if you think you're not progressing or you're not as good as everyone else, when actually it's just the act of doing it and you're still covering the distances no matter how slow you do it. When I started running in April, I really pushed myself to do multiple runs a week, like 3 runs a week, and I really just wanted to like go hard or go home kind of vibe. And like I said, that just became very demotivating for me because it was very, very, very tough to go from no running at all to literally my main source of exercise being running in the week was a very big change, and that was very hard to maintain, and so I couldn't maintain that. After a few weeks, I then would start doing a run maybe every like 2 weeks or something, and to go from 3 runs a week to once every 2 weeks, that is quite a big jump. But it just shows like how difficult it is to do that, especially when you're first starting out. I was running for a good few months, whether it was once a week, every 2 weeks, multiple times a week. I could not get over 4 kilometers. I just had this mental block where I physically thought I was not capable of running further than 4 kilometers. I thought anything above 4 kilometers is just horrendously hard, and there would be no way that I would ever see myself running further than like 4.5 kilometers. Like, that would just seem crazy because of how tough I found the 4 kilometers. Sorry if the camera's moved a little bit. I've actually just come to find somewhere else on a random lane to park and record because there's construction going on in the house, so it was so loud, and now someone's come and clean all the cars, so I felt very awkward sitting in between all the cars with him like cleaning around me. So I was like, I'll move. I genuinely thought like if I was doing a 5 kilometer run, that would literally be the worst thing ever. Like, it would be so hard, and I never even considered running it any further than that. I made a pact for myself because I knew it was a mental block. If I can run 4 kilometers, I can run 5 kilometers. Like, it's a mental block. I can physically do it. So I told myself every single week I am going to run 5 kilometers, and I'm not going to run any other run. I'm not going to tell myself I need to run 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I'm just going to run once a week, and I'm going to run 5 kilometers every single week to prove to myself I can do it. And literally, like, I think my first 2 5 kilometers were like 37 minutes and then 36 minutes. The third 5 kilometer I did, the third week, was literally like 31 minutes and like 49 seconds, which was crazy. That run felt incredible. I've never had a run feel that good even since. And I literally felt like I was just flying. Like, it just felt so amazing. And then since my 5k times have been like 33 minutes and stuff, and it's just been so amazing to actually prove to myself and build my confidence to show that I actually can run 5 kilometers. I did that for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and I was like, right, I actually think it's time to progress. Then I went to run a 6 kilometer run, right? And this was crazy to me. I was so nervous. Even before every single 5 kilometer run, I would get so nervous. So doing 6 kilometers was so scary. And on that run, I actually got lost and ended up doing 7.5 kilometers, and I started crying on the run. I was that proud of myself. It was crazy. I would have never have thought I could do that. It just goes to show, if you let that mental block down, run really slow, give it your all, don't put pressure on yourself, try your best, your body is capable of so much more than what you give it credit for. I was literally just running and I couldn't believe how long and far I was running for. 7.5 kilometers might not be very far for a lot of people, but for me, genuinely, me 1 month ago would have laughed in your face if you would have said, hey, do you want to come on a 7.5 kilometer run with me? I'd have been like, oh my God, you're joking. Like, absolutely not. That just goes to show, if I can do it, you guys can do it too. And I had been running for like 6 or 7 months before I did that. So a lot of people train for half marathons in like 6 months. That seemed crazy to me. It wasn't like I was running for a couple of weeks and then did it and I'm saying I'm a beginner. Like, I really found it hard, and it took me a lot to get there. When I did that, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm capable of so much more. So on that day, or maybe the day after, I actually booked myself in for a 10 kilometer race, which is crazy. I hate that it's even called a race, to be honest, because it makes you feel like you actually have to like race in it, when actually I just want to take part. I want to have something to work towards, and I also want to experience the whole like race environment and everything. And I just think that would be so cool to do that. And like, I've booked it to be in London, so like I'm going to spend the weekend there and like make a whole weekend out of it. So really excited for that. Well, a bit nervous, but really excited. Another piece of advice I would give that I have actually heard from somebody online. This woman is now an ultra marathoner. She was explaining her running journey, and she explained that when she first started out running, she would actually run based on like the lamppost on her road. So she might be like, okay, first run out, I'm gonna run 2 lampposts down and come back, and that is it. And then in a couple days, let's do that again and see if we can go to the 3rd lamppost. I just think that is such a brilliant brilliant way of doing it because it completely takes off that pressure of running even a kilometer. Like a kilometer is so far. People make out a kilometer as not, but it actually really is. So I think the act of getting outside, putting on your run clothes, running for 500 meters or however far you do with your lampposts is a brilliant idea because it just takes away that pressure. And it also shows that, oh, if I've got to lamppost 2 and lamppost 3 is 15 meters further than lamppost 2, I can do that. And then next time you're going to build the confidence up every single time to just do that extra little bit until you think, actually, I'm not going to base it on the lamppost anymore. And I think a big thing about running is confidence and the mental challenge of it. I also think it's super scary, especially when like you're first starting out. Running is really difficult. So just building up your fitness a little bit by doing it like that is going to help you so much for when you start to do a little bit further distances. She'd also say she'd like listen to a specific song. She'd go up to like the chorus one day and then like another day she'd go out on a run and then she'd go to like just after the chorus and then like eventually she'd be like, oh my god, shall I see if I can run for the whole song? And I think that's such a nice way of doing it. Almost makes it like a little bit of a game rather than making it this really intimidating, scary thing. Also a great way to track beginner's progress. Like I think if I would have heard of that before I started, that would have been a really great way to start. For my first ever run, I actually did it on a treadmill after not running since I've literally been in school and I was really young. I really built this thing up in my head that I'm not a runner. And I remember when I first did it, it felt so weird to actually run. Like after not running for ages, it felt so weird to like do something different to walking or whatever. But yeah, I did that for a few minutes on the treadmill and I literally came away feeling like the happiest person in the world because I was so proud of myself. I felt so good about it. It just shows you how amazing running can really make you feel and how empowered and strong and proud you can be of yourself. And when I did that first run, never would I ever have thought I am where I am now. I think it's almost just taking that first step. Do a couple minutes on your treadmill. Do like running to the lamppost. Run to a song, whatever it is. Run for 100 meters, walk for 100 meters. There's no pressure. It's just taking that first step to get you out there. So obviously I've just told you I've actually booked myself in for a 10-kilometer race, which is so exciting. But this could be a little piece of advice for you guys. Get yourself booked into something, whether that is a 5-kilometer, whether that is a 10k, whether that's whatever it is. I honestly have got so much motivation from booking into this 10-kilometer race because I've got a date in mind of when I need to run this 10k. It's helped me like plan out my runs a little bit better, which is feeling great because I am currently running 3 times a week, which if it wasn't for having the race in mind, I wouldn't be running that much. But it means I don't have to rely on motivation. I just have to rely on discipline because I don't wake up and think, oh, shall I go on a run today? I wake up and I'm like, okay, what am I doing today kind of thing. And then I will go from there. And so it's almost like I wouldn't not want to do the run because I know I'd be deserving myself for when I come to that race. You know that if you don't prepare and you don't do the runs beforehand, it's going to be so scary on the day to do the race. And it just gives you that motivation to work towards something. If you don't have anything to work towards, it can be a little bit like, well, why am I doing this kind of thing? But if you have something in place that's booked, then you almost know you kind of have no option. Having your runs kind of planned because you're working towards something helps you just kind of do it without even thinking about it. Like it's almost just like autopilot and you just something you're ticking off and getting done. It can also help you progress a lot because you want to up your distances. So for example, I did my 7.5 kilometer and if I didn't have a 10 kilometer booked, I'd probably just keep doing like 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers around that. But because I have this 10 kilometer race and I literally gave myself 30 days to do it, I'm making sure every week I'm upping my kilometers. So you literally have no choice but to progress. So it's a great way to also progress with your running. If you don't have a race planned, I would suggest if you're just going to do like 1 run a week or 2 runs a week, whatever, plan the days you're going to do that run and the distance you're going to do anyway, just so it still feels like you have no choice kind of thing. Obviously, if it comes to the day and you don't want to do it and you'd rather do something else, like that's completely okay. But if it is something that you do really want to stick to and you're finding that hard, this could be an idea and a good way to do it. The next thing, and this is such an important one, and I really hope you guys actually take this one on board, is I really want you guys to just slow right down. Like please just slow right down as if it's almost like a fast walk. You're plodding. You want to plod, you know? If you're pushing yourself on every single run, which is also something I used to do, and you literally feel like you physically cannot go on for any longer and you feel like you're dying on every run, it's never ever going to feel appealing to go out on a run and feel like you're literally going through hell on every run. Like that's you're never going to feel excited about that. Like why would you? You're human. You don't want to put yourself through that. Running in zone 2, which I think is like a 120 beats per minute to 140 beats per minute kind of heart rate. So you kind of want to be around like 125, 130 kind of heart rate, I think. Obviously, I don't even track my heart rate. You can kind of work out what feels good for you and what feels like you're literally going to die. So you don't want to feel like you're gonna die. You want to feel like you're just having a little plod and you could kind of just keep going and keep going. People say it should be like a conversational pace, so you should be able to hold a conversation while running at that speed. And you need to be brutally honest with yourself. If you are running faster than that, then slow down. Like, that's absolutely fine. But the crazy thing about it, which I think is so cool, is that doing these slower runs actually help you run faster in the future. So the runs where you actually do want to push yourself a little bit more here and there, those runs will actually be faster because you've had your slower runs. And I think that's so epic. I don't really get it. I think I've heard that it helps build your aerobic endurance, not only benefit your performance, but will also help you enjoy your runs because you know they're not going to be super challenging every single time. Drop your ego, besties, because it will actually be worth it. A piece of advice I'd give for this, maybe not, I don't know actually, but I would just suggest to stop checking your times every few minutes, because I don't know about you, but when I used to do this and I hadn't quite got my head around the like running super slow yet, and I'd still just run really fast, I would keep checking my time and I'd be like, oh my god, no, like what, I'm going that slow, I need to speed up. And then subconsciously I'd go faster. Even if I was telling myself like, okay, yeah, run slow, I would still subconsciously speed myself up because I'm like, no, I want it to be faster, I want it to be better. It doesn't mean it's better because it's running faster. Stop checking your time because you might subconsciously keep running faster. Or if you are completely okay with running really slow, keep checking your time and make sure you're going slow enough. To be honest, I think it's based on how you're feeling. If you're finding it really tough and you feel like you can't keep going, just drop it right back as much as you can and see how you feel. I'm so sorry that I keep moving around in this video. I just went for lunch because I was running out of time. So now I'm back. I'm coming back with more points, guys. Something I wanted to let you guys know is that even after running for 7 or 8 months, I still get quite anxious before every single run. I think it's because I know that for the next 30 minutes of my life, I am going to be in a little bit of discomfort and it's going to be hard, and it does put quite a bit of pressure on me to like keep it up and keep running even when it does get hard, and you know, that does make me a little bit anxious. But even though it makes me anxious before, me going on that run proves to myself time and time again, even though I'm anxious, like I can still do it and I'm still capable. If I put my mind to something, I can do it, and like it shows that my mental toughness is getting better and I'll build my confidence with it, and hopefully over time that anxiety will go down because I'll prove to myself over and over again that I can do it even when I am feeling like that. And it also shows that like when I finish my runs, yeah, I might be dying, but give it 10 minutes and I've recovered and I feel so proud of myself. I feel so impressed, I feel empowered, I feel strong, I feel powerful. Like I feel so good about going on a run. There isn't one time that I have regretted going on a run, and I think that's so important to know. Even though it does make me feel a little bit nervous beforehand, it's always going to be so worth it because it makes me feel so good. It gets me outside into nature, getting fresh air, time off my phone, time to have thoughts to myself, all things like that. And a lot of people will listen to music, listen to podcasts. I will do that sometimes, and some days I'll take no headphones and I'll just run and listen to nothing. And I think sometimes we forget that we most of the time don't just have time to literally just sit with ourselves, like, and that can be a little bit scary. But I would recommend giving it a go and just maybe take your AirPods out with you just in case, but maybe just spend 5 minutes with nothing in your ears and seeing what you think. And then other days listen to something educational, other days listen to like upbeat tracks. It's like gonna make you feel really good. Like there's so many opportunities for you to like have really nice you time. Know your why. Why are you running? If you are running to burn calories, if you're running to lose weight and purely that is it, I'm sorry, but in my personal opinion and my experience, it is never ever going to feel appealing to go on a run. We need to know why we're doing it. Running can be so fun because you can join a run club and meet new people. You can go on a run as another way of socializing with your friends, like ask a friend if they want to go on a run with you, and it's something different. It helps you stick to what you said you were going to do. So even though it's something hard and you still do it, you are building up so much evidence that you are capable, and like that is an amazing why. Like you are disciplined even when it doesn't feel the best. You are disciplined even when you're not motivated, and that will ultimately build up your confidence and your respect for yourself. You need to treat yourself as if you're your own boss. Like if a boss told you to go and do something, you do it. So even more so for yourself, if you tell yourself you're going to do something, you should do it. You should have the most respect for yourself, and sticking to what you said you're going to do and going on that run is going to help that. Finally, my biggest suggestion would be change up your running route. This has made such a huge difference for me. Running just around like the route around my house, honestly, I find it so boring. Like running can be boring. If you're doing the same route every single time, it can be even more boring because you kind of know like on that route how far till you got back and how far along in the route you are, and it just doesn't make it as fun. Whereas if you're constantly changing up, you're on the route and you don't know where you are, you have to think about where you're going next, and you don't have as much time to think about how much you're struggling because you're thinking about where are you, what have I got to do now, where am I going, how far until I'm back, like all of these things. Which route shall I take? Like you're seeing new things that you don't see 100 times before. The scenery will be different. To begin with, it used to make me feel really anxious to drive to go for a run because I used to think what a waste waste of time. I could just go for a run around here and be done in 30 minutes. Instead, I'm driving 30 minutes to go on a 15-minute run and then driving 30 minutes back. And it used to make me feel like, oh my God, I'm definitely doing the wrong thing. Like, just go on a run, stop being so extra and dramatic. But actually now I love driving 30 minutes, going for a run and driving 30 minutes back. Even if I'm driving for longer than I'm running, I think it's so worth it, because it's like a couple of hours of my day that's like me time, and I'm going out to make the experience as beautiful for me as I possibly can. I'm just doing it on my own, having a little sing-song in the car, going to an area that I've not been before, trying new places, trying new routes. I'm setting myself up to have a good run. Like, we can't expect ourselves to enjoy the process and do well if we're literally gonna like dread every second of it. I've definitely stopped thinking about it in a way that I'm like wasting time, because I've realized how much more I enjoy my runs when I do that. It's actually benefiting me so much more. So it's now become, instead of something that I just tick off to get done, it's like a moment or a period of my day where I can have like time for myself, which I really love. And like, it's helping me become the best version of myself and getting me to be that higher version of myself that I envision and would love myself to be in my near future. My next biggest tip is stay safe. If anything feels weird, anything feels dodgy, do something about it. Don't just run into something that feels weird. If it feels weird, go back, get someone on the phone, whatever. Just please be safe. One more thing I wanted to mention, on my first run, I think I went out for 15 minutes, like my first run not on a treadmill. Honestly, I came back, could taste blood. I was bright red. I couldn't breathe. I felt sick. I felt awful, absolutely awful. And I think after that, I didn't run for like 3 weeks. Ever since that first run, even if I haven't run for like a month after each run, I've never felt that bad again. So if you go on your first run and it feels dreadful and you come back and you feel like actual death, I don't know about you, but for me, I've never, ever felt as bad as I did after that first run ever again. It might be horrible, but please don't think that you're going to be like that after every single run now, because every single time you do a run, you're going to be increasing your fitness and it will get better and better. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has helped you, inspired you, motivated you, given you some tips, tricks, advice, whatever. I love you all so much. Please like, comment, subscribe. All my socials are linked in the description box below. You can use my code BROOKEP to get money off Gymshark. And if you do, please send me a screenshot over on Instagram and I'll send you something in medium, large or extra large from the women's section. Brand new with tags, just to say thank you for the support. You can use code BROOK for money off my protein. I love you all so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Have the best week ever and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys, I love you.